Hey guys, how are you? Another great video for you. I'm going to answer a question that actually entrepreneurs ask me a lot on my apps. They kind of have, this is how it goes. I have a great business idea. I don't know what to do next. Does that sound familiar? Did you ever ask that question maybe? Well, there's so many things to say, right? Even about your comment on, I have a great business idea. How do you know that it's great? But let's say it is great. What to do next? So we'll get to this, right? So how do you tell that your business idea is great? Do you have expertise in this field? Do you know this field deeply, right? So like the other day, somebody emailed me. They're like, "Well, I have a great idea for an app, but they've never built an app or they never spent one day working in the app business. So they absolutely cannot tell whether this idea is any good. The only thing they can tell is that it's a unique idea that they just had. But whether the unique idea that they just had is actually a good idea, it's very far. Those are two very different concepts, because there's many things that go into making an idea a good one. It has to be executable. It has to, you have to be the right founder for this idea. There has to be a match between your interest, your abilities, your knowledge. So some ideas are good for some people, but not so good for other people. So there's that. There's also, what market is it addressing? Is there a lot of demand for it? I mean, is it going to really resonate with consumers? And that's something you know much later when you're able to put the thing into consumers' hands. So knowing whether a business idea is great, first of all, very tricky, very tricky. Only like really savvy entrepreneurs can really tell, like a yes or no, this is good or not, like they're able to do yes or no. And even then they make mistakes, because think about Twitter. Very few people understood it, even brilliant people at first, right? They didn't understand it. So there's also like anomalies, there's also like different cases where you just different unique things, and nobody really can tell until that thing goes out into the market and then people are able to use it. And in Twitter it took years too. So sometimes you just don't know for a long time if this thing is going to work. Now, let's say the idea is great, okay? What to do next? Okay, so what to do next actually is precisely to determine whether it's good. Talk to people. Maybe if it's easy for you, make a prototype of it, because it's much more effective to talk about a prototype that they can use rather than some business idea that you had and it will take you a long time to explain to them and they won't completely get it. Create a business pitch for it, because when you create a business pitch for it, you're able to explain the product clearly. And most of the time, first-time entrepreneurs, they just explain the product in such a long way. It takes them so long to explain it. It's not really clear, and after a long time, people just get confused. And experienced investors just get turned off. Like experienced investors or entrepreneurs, they get really turned off by like long explanations, because it shows that you are not ready. It shows that you're a little early, you're a little young, you're a little inexperienced, and most of the time that's a reason that your idea isn't that good either. And so you don't want to fall into that bucket. You don't want to be judged like that. So you want to create a great pitch. I have a video of how to create a great pitch, how to explain your product, things like that. So you do want to create a great pitch, because you'll use your pitch every time you talk to someone. You literally have to explain the business again and again, and it's going to be for co-founders, business partners, investors, potential clients. So you really must, it's really one of the most important things for your business. So you develop your pitch. Also, to keep a focused goal, develop a mantra. A mantra is like, it's a little bit of a fluff thing, but it's really helpful sometimes, because mantra is like what you want to do in general. So let's say this is your the business's goal is to like feed the hungry. Okay, this is the goal of the business. That's the mantra. We're gonna feed the hungry. Okay, it's a great cause, right? And whatever you do, that's what you're going towards. You're gonna feed the hungry. But how you get there, the strategy to get there, that can change. It will change all the time. But as long as your goal is the same, like we're gonna feed the hungry, then it really helps you to keep your focus. This is exactly what we are doing. We're helping to feed the hungry. How we get to that can change and should change, because you gotta evolve your strategy. But if your goal changes, then that's something else entirely, right? Then your company really has changed. But so the goal usually just stays the same, but the strategy to get there is different. So make a mantra so that it keeps you focused and it keeps all your efforts focused as you change your strategy. Of course, talk to as many people as possible. As I mentioned, the prototype is better. Eventually, if you still sort of like the idea, if it gets good feedback, and by the way, don't just ask your friends and family. Ask people who actually know, because your friends and family will tell you really positive feedback. They always make it more positive. Like half of the time they don't get it, and half of the time they try to make you feel better. So ask people who really know, people who have experience in the field, things like that. Now, if you still like the product, if it's getting the idea, if it's getting positive feedback, then you want to sort of see how you can, that prototype that you maybe have made or are thinking about making, see how to create it and put it out into the market and give it to actual customers. And here I'm going to use theories from these two smart people, Steve Blank and Eric Ries, and they developed this concept of the lean startup. And it's basically, to make it simple, it's basically you put out your prototype into the market. This isn't your real product. This is just a test. It's just an experimentation. And the goal of this experimentation is to give it to real clients who they don't know you. They're just random people. They're indifferent. And their indifference is extremely valuable because their feedback will be objective. They will be like, I like it, I hate it, whatever, I don't care about it. So what you want to do, take their feedback and quickly process it, see if it's useful. If it is useful, make those additions or changes to your product, release the product again, get feedback again, make the changes, and do this cycle all the time. The cycle actually will stay, this cycle will stay as this cycle for the duration of your company, and this is exactly the way you improve your product long term. And short term, this is the fastest way to improve your product so that you can get from a prototype to something that you can be like, okay, this is the version 1 of my company, and from then on, that's how you grow your product. That's how you sort of create your product to be better and better and better. And so that's how I wanted to approach this question. So the question of whether you got a great idea, what to do next. So certainly, seriously examine if it's a good idea, and don't get stuck on it. Be very open to criticism. And if you still sort of like it, keep talking to people, but also put it more into the market as much as possible. Because people don't want to talk about the thing all the time. They want to play with the real thing, what your idea is. And that's how you will sort of grow this idea, evolve this idea into a company. So that's it. I hope that's been helpful. If it was, of course, please subscribe to this channel. I have a lot of videos for all kinds of business help. And if you are dealing with business, if you're starting a business, if you have an idea, I have created some really helpful business apps. They cover business ideas, business planning, marketing, and fundraising, and they're available on iOS, Android, and Kindle. So if you are starting a business, they will probably help you. So check them out at Problemio.com or by searching for Problemio in any of the app stores like iOS, Android, Kindle, or I'll have the links to them all in the description of the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.